All right, let's talk about what happened in the NBA last night, because it was something you just don't see very often. We're talking a massive league-wide night of basketball where pretty much everything was on the line. Records got absolutely smashed, playoff spots were locked in, and some stars put on shows we're going to remember for a long, long time. So let's break down just how epic this night really was.
First off, just try to wrap your head around the scale of this thing. Every single team, all 30 franchises suited up and were in action on the exact same night. I mean, from coast to coast, you had a 15-game slate that basically felt like the entire regular season just got boiled down into one single, chaotic and totally brilliant evening.
And you know, right out of the gate, a huge theme started to pop up. The top contenders, the real heavyweights of the league, they weren't just winning. They were delivering these thunderous blowout victories. They weren't just trying to get a W. They were sending a message to everybody else. And look no further than the Boston Celtics for Exhibit A. They put on an absolute offensive clinic against a pretty good Pelicans team, dropping a ridiculous 144 points. And this wasn't just their stars either. You had guys like Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench and just immediately clicking. That is a terrifying sign of the kind of depth this team has heading into the postseason. You know, the announcer during the broadcast just summed it up perfectly. He said, "This is a house party." And that quote just captures the whole vibe, doesn't it? It didn't feel like a high-pressure game. It felt like the Celtics were just loose, confident, hitting 19 threes and looking every single bit like a championship favorite. And Boston wasn't the only one flexing, not by a long shot. Over in Utah on their fan appreciation night, the Jazz just completely dismantled the Grizzlies, won 47-101. It was a wire-to-wire blowout. And at the same time, you had the Miami Heat just cruising past the Wizards, putting up 140 points of their own. The league's elite were definitely making some noise.
But, you know, it wasn't all about the team blowouts. This was also a night that was defined by just breathtaking, unbelievable individual performances. We had several players across the league who just decided to put their teams on their backs and have career nights.
So first up, let's talk about Houston's Amen Thompson. In this total nail-biter against the Timberwolves, Thompson was just sensational. He poured in a career-high 41 points. I mean, his athleticism was just popping off the screen. And, yeah, the Rockets fell just a little short, but wow, what a spectacular glimpse of the superstar he's going to be.
And then you've got the phenom, Victor Wembanyama. In this huge duel everyone was waiting for, he drops 40 points and snags 13 rebounds to lead the Spurs over the Mavericks. His skill set is it's unfair. He was completely unstoppable, scoring with spin moves, dunks, step-back threes, the whole package.
And hey, let's not forget Deni Avdija over in Portland. He absolutely erupted for a game-high 35 points to lead the Trailblazers past the Clippers. And what's cool is, for a player who had been kind of struggling from three-point range, he stepped up in a massive way and even knocked down a huge three that basically iced the game.
But we've got to go back to Wemby for a second, because this quote from the broadcast really says it all. After another one of his just unbelievable plays, the announcer goes, "He's not human, he's an alien." And honestly, when you watch him score 40 like that, it's hard to argue, right? And performances like his weren't just for fun. They had massive consequences for the whole league.
Right, so this wasn't just a bunch of random games. All the results from this 15-game marathon brought this sudden, dramatic clarity to the whole playoff race. For a bunch of teams, their path through the postseason is now officially set in stone because of what happened last night.
So, what were the biggest takeaways from all this? Well, with that dominant win, the Boston Celtics officially locked up the number 2 seed in the East. Done. The New York Knicks, they took care of business against Toronto, and with that, they secured the number 3 seed. In the Atlanta Hawks, their impressive victory over Cleveland guaranteed they'll be playing in a playoff series. The chessboard is being set.
So as all the final buzzers were sounding across the country, all that chaos started to settle into a much clearer picture. The contenders, they know their seeding now, and the matchups are really starting to take shape for what's going to be an incredible postseason.
So, what did it all look like when the dust settled? Let's do a quick run-through of the complete scoreboard from this really, truly unforgettable night of NBA basketball.
Okay, here it is, the full picture. So beyond those huge blowouts we talked about from the Celtics, Heat, and Jazz, you had more decisive wins. The Magic and the Bucks both handled their business, no problem. Then you had the really high-stakes games. The 76ers ground out a super tough road win against the Pacers, and the Knicks locked up their seed against the Raptors. The Nuggets sent a cheer message to another top contender by beating the Thunder, and, in a game that felt like a playoff preview, the Kings outdueled the Warriors in a close one. But maybe the biggest statement of the entire night came from the Lakers, who just absolutely dismantled the Suns in a game that honestly wasn't even as close as that 28-point final score makes it look. Just an incredible slate of games top to bottom.
So, all of that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? We saw dominant teams flex their muscles, we saw stars just explode, and we watched the playoff bracket snap into focus. After a night that really tested every single team, it kind of just leaves you wondering, with all the statements that were just made, who is really ready for the bright lights and the brutal intensity of the NBA playoffs?